Hello, you're here again. Welcome. First time, first person in here. Today I want to build a city. Thank you for stopping in here. Do you think yeah, I'll definitely develop a map. Definitely. Yeah, I don't know how you get in here so fast. You're just waiting for the stream to start. Didn't announce it or anything. Alright, so I've had this idea in my head for a while about the city design. Trying to figure out what angle I want to do it from though. How does the audio sound? Does it sound alright? I changed a little bit of the settings there because there was some background noise yesterday. Good. Okay. A little bit quiet. Yeah. It's on full audio. Let's see if... Is that any louder? I think that just might be my sound. Let me know if that went up at all. Still a bit less background noises. Yeah. That's hopefully the idea. So a little word to say, love what you're doing. Is there possibly watch the videos older streams or not? Yeah, if you go to my YouTube channel, you can just click the streams tab and they should all be there. I mean, there's just the one from yesterday so far. Uh, I haven't looked into. I mean, I haven't gotten into cultures yet at all, to be honest. But the idea is really about Andy's cultures. I think it's gonna be kind of like if that got into huge cities. What would that be like if they were able to sustain huge cities? What would culture be like that? Did you think? Yeah, I made a Discord. There's actually a link in the chat here. I don't think there's many people in it yet, but let me see. Yeah, we've got 17 people there so far. So feel free to join. I hadn't checked it yet today. Very cool. And let me know if you have any suggestions. I will actually just make a new channel right now for suggestions. There we go. It's on a link on YouTube, and also it's on a link. It should be on a link right in the stream here. Hello, hello. Any plans to develop? What is a conlang? Oh, constructed language. That makes a lot of sense. I have no idea. I don't know if I want to get into that. But I might. I like the idea more of just having kind of like sayings and stuff. I mean, this would be a fun exercise to try to figure out. Like, I always like when in books they have like curse words or whatever from uh, that have something to do with the place they're in or their culture or something. That always seems fun. So I wonder what kind of curse words they'd have with clouds. By the clouds. Where is music? Um, can I just put music on here? I don't know if I can do that. Like I don't know how the YouTube rules work. Um, uh, I mean, I know how to do it. I just don't know if I'm allowed to. I know people do it, so get copyright free music. Let's see if I can find something like that. Could I just find a YouTube playlist that's copyright free, maybe? Yeah, there is. No, I usually have music. I just don't know how to. I didn't think of that yesterday. Let me see if I can get this on. Let me know how if this is good volume. If that's too loud, I don't know. Something nice and relaxing. If that, just let me know to turn. If you want me to turn it up or down, or if you can't hear it at all, that'd be. Just let me know. Eight. 9. Slightly up, okay. Yeah, I usually listen to more intense music, but I feel like that's not the vibe here. Want something nice and refreshing. Yes, the silliness channel can be for any silliness you would like. So I've had this idea in my mind of these 3 mountain peaks that kind of form together. and they have this. They've built this gladiator pit in the middle, giant kind of arena thing, and in the middle they pull clouds into the middle here, and then the gladiators fight on there, and if they fall through, they fall through. Were you the inspiration for the Discord? Yes. One woman marries several brothers who all work different jobs. That is an interesting idea. That's crazy. This is cool, but I just can I get a quick recap of everything so far? I mean, I have explanations of I guess my world. If you want to watch that really quickly, they're like 3 5-minute videos on the YouTube channel. That would give you a better explanation. But it's this basically people can walk on clouds, and they're thick enough that you can walk on them, and that you can kind of barely sink through them if you just stand still, kind of like quicksand. And the whole fantasy world is sort of built on these mountain peaks. Everything is really steep. There's all these cities. Most of the people just live in the mountains like this, on the mountain peaks. But there's a few people that will go venture out, like pirates and messengers and that kind of stuff. Those are the Cloudrunners. I'm going to take a bit more time on this one and just make a nice drawing as well. Why 2 face cams? Well, I mean, one is more to see my drawing. I can turn it away from my face more, but because I have references up here as well, so you guys can see sometimes. I'm super glad YouTube is recommending videos like these. I started with Monster Garden. Now there's this whole small community. Worldbuilding has always been a small, really niche on YouTube. Yeah, I mean, I think as soon as I saw like that first Monster Garden video with the dwarf, I just saw the thumbnail and I knew what it was, and I was like, I want to watch this. I just kind of sold right from that thumbnail, and I think that I think there's a lot of people like that. I think there's a lot of art videos on YouTube, but it's all like art tutorials and that kind of stuff, and speed paints. But I think what people really find interesting with this kind of stuff is actually the design, because I mean, not everybody wants to get into the actual creating art, but everybody's interested in design. Like, people will talk about the designs of whatever fantasy series all the time. Anybody who's even slightly nerdy likes that. So it's a lot of fun to actually go through that thinking process. And even concept artists who do the stuff kind of for their day job, they never talk about it. They always just show the pretty paintings, but never the thinking. And I think that's a really interesting thing to talk about. So the idea is just doing this whole world building project kind of in public view, so it's all out in the open. The whole thought process, like all of my designs that I've made so far, all of the videos and stuff, none of that is like canon, I guess I'd say, until I write it in some kind of book. I consider it's just all, I'm just thinking through it all right now. Like some of the videos have had really good comments, and I'm like, oh, I should really change that. That's like a good idea to change. So if you guys have suggestions, please let me know. You can let me know here or in the Discord as well. Do you have 3 monitors? Yeah, I have 3 monitors. I've had the one on the left. There's one you can see over here where I'm pointing. One over here off screen. I always have Discord and music and stuff up. I was usually painting on this upper one here, and I had an Intuos tablet down here. And I just got this one about 8 months ago. And it's so much more fun to draw with. It's one of the things that actually made me want to do this project with actually more drawing, because I typically don't draw a lot. I do mostly painting, digital painting. I do think Monster Garden did recommend him. I mean, he commented on one of my videos. I don't think he's recommended me anywhere, but that'd be awesome. I really love his stuff. Yeah, seeing how much interest there was in world building and in sort of that design thinking, that's what kind of made me, because I always thought if I made a YouTube channel, it's just gonna be like take years of making little videos to get any kind of traction with it. But it did way better than I thought right away. I think there's a lot of people that are interested in this. Like, I mean, I'm interested in that. I would just love to listen to videos of people's world building projects all day. That seems like I just wish there was more of that out there, so if I can do some of that, I will. Do Cloudrunners have some kind of tournaments? Absolutely. They're gonna have some obstacle courses, kind of tournaments and races, and it's gonna be a whole sport. Kind of, it's like a really dangerous sport, of course. make sure the volcano, or not volcanoes, I looked at volcanoes, but the topography kind of makes sense. I imagine these kind of really, really deep, like kind of rivers have cut out sort of crevices in the mountains so that they have these really steep angles. I'm trying to find an image of it. What would happen if the cloud layer from the toxic layer, cloud from the toxic layer went up? Well, I think a lot of the world is designed on the layers being very kind of, where depending on the weight of the, so I think that it would be able to fly up a little bit, maybe like 30 or 40 meters with a gust of wind or a thermal or something, but it would kind of, the weight of that gas would keep it lower. Like each gas has a certain weight and that would kind of adjust to fall back down. That's why it's such a condensed layer. So it would, yeah, I think, I imagine the farmers would have like burns on their arms from that, and from little gusts of the gas that's kind of flown up at them. Maybe a little bit deformed. Who stays on the clouds? There is any liquid that is created by you. What do you mean? A liquid that works like water, but different? Like from the clouds, you mean? I guess I just thought of it, it would just turn into water. That keeps things simpler. It would make sense that it'd be actually a bit different, but feels weird not having water though. Like I do want to have lakes and stuff as well. You know, actually that would make sense to have here because of the way these connect. What if instead of falling into clouds here, they fell into a lake? So they wouldn't probably die if they fell. They might, because it's pretty far down. That seems kind of cool. Well, the thing about cloud, like if they're running on clouds, it's dangerous because if you get stuck in a cloud that's thick enough and you don't fall through, like if you fall through, that's dangerous because you can fall into nothingness or just down really far and die if you hit something far down. But it's also dangerous, like if you get stuck inside a cloud for a long enough time without air, you'll just suffocate. Can't stay long, but watch the video later. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining. Bow and arrow tournament. Yeah, I mean that would definitely be Did you get to see my concept pitch about dragons left in the comments? Uh, Under the previous stream. I haven't seen that yet, no. I will look at that. It's a comment on the last stream. I do have brushes. Yeah, I can share my brushes. Most of them aren't mine, but yeah. I do have ideas for what's under the toxic gas. I don't know if I want to get into that though. I think I might want to leave that as kind of a secret or somewhere to go with like a book in the future. I've hinted at it though in the dragon video. I think a big thing is the people up here, they don't know what's under there. Yeah, I do. I really like that idea of the Victorian era diving suit. I mean, I think that would be a bit complex, but they could definitely do something simpler than that. And then they pull it up, so like somebody goes down in some kind of box or something below the surface, but maybe they didn't get the depth right, and then they open it up, and the person is just disintegrated. And they don't try it again. Why are you working in Photoshop? Did I just work in apps like Psy? It's just out of habit, to be honest. The thing is, I don't. My main day job is, or day job. I didn't. It's not. I do freelance art as a living. So I'll show you my website, like the kind of stuff I do. I do book covers for the most part. And so it's a mix of I do 3D and photo manipulation and painting. So it's just when I'm just painting, I could use another tool, but I'm so used to Photoshop. I spent so many thousands of hours in it. Like this one's almost all done in 3D in Blender, and then final touches with Photoshop. Some of them are fully digital. Same with this one's 3D. This one's fully digital painted by hand. It's 3D in photos. This one's all painted, so it's a bit mix of that kind of stuff. But yeah, I use all the. Whenever I've tried other apps, it's never they don't have enough stuff that I need for the actual photo editing side of things. Yeah, I really like the idea of unexplored things, and whenever you give something away, whenever you show what like whenever you explore the unexplored, then you kind of are just left like, oh, that's it, okay. I mean, it's cool, but now that idea of having something that you don't know what it is and you can't find out is just super interesting to me. So I think a big part of my map in my world is just going to be completely unexplored. Like, let's say I mean, people living on in the Andes Mountains, let's say, but if imagine the water level way up high in the Andes Mountains. I'll actually show you guys, I've been playing around with this website. Um, that has given me some ideas for this world, for the map. So it basically can just add the elevation of the water level you want it to be at on Earth. And it shows you the world map like this. Can I zoom in on this more? Oh, I have to pay for that, okay. But just look how interesting this kind of, if you just go high elevation, what things start to look like. So this is kind of like what the map's gonna look like. Something like that. Or even like this. So imagine if your world map was like this, here, and there's like an island here, and this might be the farthest anybody's ever explored. But then there's more stuff over here. And so much of the map is just going to be like unexplored. Or maybe there's different maps where some people have explored farther and they don't know really what's out there. And there might be a whole continent over here that's a lot more flat that they could farm, and we don't know. We don't know what's out there. But I just find that kind of stuff really interesting. The unexplored territories. I was wondering what would happen if a big cloud floats into the city and the city drowns. Yeah, I mean they pull the clouds apart and pull them away and light fires and stuff like that. But I think that would definitely be an issue. A city's it's not gonna drown you necessarily though. If you just close your windows, you'll have plenty of air, and they move quickly enough where it's not gonna create that huge of an issue, I think. I know what's under the clouds. I've been there. Don't tell anybody. It's supposed to be a secret. You're just lucky you didn't get eaten by a dragon. My idea for these bridges is the London, is it the London Bridge? It's the one that the song's about, not the Tower Bridge. And they had let's see if I can find a good photo, or I mean drawing. It's not an actual photo. Here we go. So the bridge was like this, and it was just all built up with buildings, and it was kind of like a market maybe, or I'm using Photoshop if that you didn't hear that in time. There are flat places. There might be. We don't know yet. There's going to be all kinds of countries, so I'd assume some would have flatter places than others. Those would definitely be more desirable in some ways, but they might also be more prone to attacks. I need to make this canvas bigger. What are you guys talking about with tubes? I don't understand that. People land inland will try to secure the tubes to not get damaged. I think I missed something there. Will it be a flat Earth or a round Earth? It's a round Earth. I'm talking about I've talked about sort of gravity and stuff like that. There's lower gravity, so, but they don't know that. Like the people on here, if I were to write a book or anything like that, it's not gonna mention that really. I think unless you actually really study it, you would just assume that it's flat. The diving suit, that's what that was about, okay. Will you write down the general population of the world and cities to track major increase and decrease during the world events? Maybe. That's still way ahead of what I've got here so far. I mean, I kind of just want to figure out the basics of how the world works, and then I'll get more and more detailed as it goes. Like, I don't have any cultures designed at all yet. I mean, this one place is kind of like a European looking thing. I really want to have some place with lots of arches and spires. But there'd be more than one culture, and not all of them are going to look the same. Yeah, there's a lot of, I mean, the plateaus are a really interesting idea for some kind of culture that lives more on plateaus. I even imagine there'd probably be places where a plateau would kind of happen naturally at the sort of at the top level of where clouds go, because they'd run against the top and they just kind of, the water would erode the edges, but there wouldn't be that much erosion going on at the top, so it could be pretty flat right at the top of that cloud level. the highest point that these walkable clouds reach. But I think there'd be a big fascination in this world for heights. They already have this kind of desire to get higher, but there'd be much more desire than a typical culture to aim higher, and this kind of literal heights of like height means prestige. But it's really inconvenient to live this high up as well for a lot of reasons. It's going to be colder. It's going to be also harder to get water up. You'd have really nice views though. Are you more in favor of an animation series initially than a movie or comics graphic novel to start things off? Honestly, my kind of thing that I would most want to do, and I really don't know if there's much demand for something like this, would be something more like an illustrated novel. So think more like Dinotopia kind of thing, where there's lots of drawings and paintings and that kind of stuff, but also lots of text. That's like, I think, the ideal context for this, but I don't know how much demand there is for something like that. A novel is the easiest thing to do because in terms of getting something story-wise out there. Imagine having fear of heights in this world. Yeah, it would suck. And it'd be pretty common because you'd have good reason to have fear of heights. You'd probably just want to stay indoors all the time. Inside the caves. Are any of you guys scared of heights? I feel like I'm kind of scared of heights, but I really like it at the same time. Like, I like the adrenaline. Could do a web bridge. Yeah. Oh, I definitely want to get into that here. Basically, I mean, there's going to be so much. I just kind of want to get a bit of a foundation of the stone construction of the city, but I want to get into the whole. There's going to be clouds all over here and caravan cities and. I'll just start sketching them out. But also they have kind of rope bridges and simple wooden kind of scaffolding extending really far out from the city because they want to go and collect the clouds. I should really get some perspective in here to make sure I'm not doing this wrong. transfer it over here. There we go. Okay, I'll see you. Thanks for joining, man. Planning a language. Not at this point. I might though in the future. Will there be magic in the world? No, no magic. Um, I like the idea of low fantasy, at least for this project. If I had a really cool idea for it, I might. But I think I want to keep this one pretty low fantasy. There's some magic enough, I think, with the feeling of the clouds and that. Thank you. Yeah, I want to do some more creature designs like that. Cloudrunner competitions where see the most skilled Cloudrunners. Yeah, definitely. That would be a big part. Glad I found the channel again. How's the world going? It's going good. I've been really busy with my cover design work lately, so I haven't been able to. I've been really wanting to do videos, but it's been hard to take some time away. I was taking a break from my work this weekend, so figured I'd jump on some live streams here. Just on the top of the mountain, does the snow and ice exist there? Actually, no. I think that's I don't think they would have snow or ice. Because kind of the solid state of water would be clouds in the same, but also gas. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense when you break it down, because water doesn't actually work that way. That's the only thing I'm trying to ask people to kind of, I guess, when you're creating some kind of world, you're always asking for somebody to take a leap of faith, something with that, and that's kind of the thing. It's like the thing with this world is just that it's not exactly how water works in the real world, but that's kind of how it works in this world. How do you think gliders would work? Wait, I'm missing something. Use ice to surf or ski. It would be interesting, but I don't know. Like, where would it come from though? That's the thing. Because if the clouds, like, how would it come out of the clouds? And how would it be able to get to the snow, to the peaks if the clouds don't reach that high? There could be ice, maybe. I guess that would make sense. Gliders. I actually drew some gliders yesterday, like hang gliders. Over here. We did all this yesterday, so if you want to go and take a look at that, but you got these guys, pirates, cloud pirates over there. You know, I've always just found, I think, the medieval setting really appealing without magic. And just the idea of normal people living normal lives in a completely different setting. Seems really interesting to me. I think as soon as you have magic, it changes so many things that I'm already changing so much. I don't want to make it feel too foreign to people to understand it. And I always just like, I like reading just low fantasy books. I like high fantasy too, but how long do you plan on streaming? Probably another hour or so, maybe a bit more. It's said that you're allowed one lie that the audience will accept and suspend their disbelief with. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm kind of referring to. I haven't heard it phrased like that, but that's exactly the idea. So I don't want to sell two lies like that. And that's just that whole idea of, like, if you're on a plane looking down at the clouds and just imagine yourself running across them. I think that's just where that initial idea came from. I don't think there's a specific moment. It's just kind of like, I don't know. I feel like it's the natural thing to imagine when you're flying above the clouds, because they look like a solid surface when you're up there. So then everything comes out of that. What would the cultures be like? How would the geography work even? Because that's the reason, other than just it looking cool, but the reason that the mountains are so steep is because the clouds run into the mountain like this, and because of the heat that's kind of on the mountain, and they just run into that, and all the water will just kind of slowly melt and slowly turn into rivers and waterfalls, and it'll erode quite steeply. Versus in our world, it kind of rains all over the place, even right from the top. So, like, the rain will come here and it'll erode everything kind of evenly. Like, whereas this, it will erode the sides a lot faster, and the top, it won't erode the top because the top is, the top is above that cloud layer. So yeah, for the buoyancy control on the cloud ships, they would grab clouds from different levels. But I don't really know how it would. I don't know how it would work other than my idea. Going back to the, if I go to the map here, is that the clouds kind of form from these less substantial clouds like this, and then they slowly turn into these like more dense, thinner clouds. Like they'll go from being like this to being like this to being these ones, which are the ones that people are walking on up here. So once you pull one of these are kind of they'll get up higher, but they also, once they get to a certain weight, they'll just kind of go down a little bit, and then they might melt a little bit, and they'll hover around here. So you can't put too much weight on them, otherwise they'll fall down more. And you just need to pull in more cloud to lift yourself back up. Let's see. How can storms affect the world? I haven't thought of that much yet. I need to research it more. I don't want to get... I mean, there's definitely wind, and there's storms, and then be electrical storms of some kind. I think the weather pattern... Somebody had this idea that I just kind of stole in a comment. They said if it could be where there would be more clouds in... Since clouds melt with heat, if there's less clouds during summer and a lot more in winter. I really like that idea of having those seasons like that. So there'd be trade and travel and all that during winter, and then not very much in summer. Everybody would be kind of locked down in their cities. I also thought of this yesterday after the stream. The ships could just have kind of wooden scaffolding in the middle of them, that because you'd want something to keep the clouds kind of somewhat together. They could have these kind of wooden frames to them that you'd kind of shove the clouds into them, And I almost drew it yesterday, but it's not quite aligned. But like if this whole thing went through there, it's kind of this frame. They could even have it a certain size, like rounded out like that, so they know how much cloud they need to have at a minimum. But have I considered other flying creatures other than the dragon? There's going to be lots of birds. Birds are a huge thing, and I imagine there'd be really big birds here as well. But I haven't designed any yet. Also, there's going to be flying jellyfish and flying cats. I have designed a flying cat, and I haven't shown it yet, in a video at least. I think it's this one. Yeah, Cloud Kitty. True clouds, the lower the heavier they are. Yeah, the clouds that are more like our clouds would be way down low. What's your favorite thing about Monster Garden? I saw his comment. I mean, I really like the overall tone of his stuff is just so cool. Like the really, it's like really grimdark. But he doesn't go for designs that are just cool for the sake of being cool, but they're really well thought out. They make sense. I really like the logical thinking behind all of it. Like that kind of stuff of making a cool visual design come from something logical, like his Monster Hunter kind of design, where there's these like they have had all these curses on them. They get like these chicken legs, like a monster or a witch hunter that's designed with chicken legs just seems so ridiculous, but it makes sense when you think of they wouldn't just be like these badass kind of cool looking like Geralt of Rivia guys that just have a little scar on their face. They'd actually be pretty deformed. That's just super cool. It's just coming at everything from that really refreshing, well thought out mentality that is really inspiring. And they're so relaxing to watch. I think that's another thing that I, when I saw that, I was like, yeah, okay, this I could do something like this, not because it's like a skill issue or something like that, but it feels so refreshing the way that he does his videos. They're just relaxing to listen to. It's not like smash that like button. It's just you just get so tired of watching all that kind of YouTube video stuff. And this just feels like I could just listen to his voice talking for hours. And watch him design and like that's it's fun and relaxing and refreshing, I would say. It feels real. A lot of YouTube just feels fake, like people are just trying to get the videos out there and get the clicks, and I think sometimes you can just be more real and relaxed and people respond well to that. So are there creatures that can have store clouds inside? I think so, and there's a whole interesting idea about these like swim bladders that fish have that have certain different like, buoyancy levels. So having like either cloud or air and being able to float at different levels with that, I think that's a really interesting idea. Well, they have use for storm clouds. Well, I don't think you can just take a storm cloud and it's like a whole thing on its own. It's like just a cloud. It's charged with electricity, or I don't know. If a really bad heat wave comes, it might just melt all the clouds fairly suddenly. But they would move a lot slower than normal clouds, so it's not going to give the kind of same feel. It won't feel like a storm in our world. Although that would look really cool, I don't feel like it would make sense. Are you still planning on keeping the world magicless? Yeah, I am. Somebody had a really cool idea that the dragons could have like a kind of bladder or container that where they would suck in when they're going through the gas layer. They could like breathe that in and then spit that as a weapon. And I really like that idea. I definitely want to include that. This is the real reason for doing things publicly on YouTube, and it's like you can just, people give you ideas and you can just add them in. I mean, not everybody's ideas I think are gonna fit the right feel I want to do for the world, but some of them definitely will. How do you think people can get more creative? That's a good question. I think it's just doing it. Putting yourself in a space to come up with interesting ideas and not rejecting your own ideas, not thinking you're stupid, just accepting them and being like, well, that one doesn't fit. I think a lot of people are more creative than they think, and you just kind of have to be willing to accept your own mistakes without judging yourself. I think a lot of people do that. And just kind of be open to judging ideas for themselves and not think too much about if it's a good or a bad idea. It's more just that does it fit or not, whatever project you're trying to do. And thinking in terms of projects is a lot better than just trying to be creative. Have a goal and then try to fulfill your goal. Don't get caught up with doing too much with it. Like whenever you're making a goal for any kind of creative project, make it something that you can actually do in a certain set amount of time. Don't be like, I'm gonna create a whole universe design just out of the blue. Like create something a little bit more, okay, I'm gonna design a creature for this world, or I'm gonna design how the geography works, or anything like that. But I think having a good, cool initial design is really helpful. So like, can you explain your world in 2 or 3 sentences? Working on that, I think people kind of rush to designing all the other stuff, but if you can work on that for a little bit more and get something that you really like, that helps a lot. Limiting your creativity, you don't want to just make anything. I think creativity is like clever problem solving. It's good way of putting it. You have a problem and you want to figure out what's the best way of addressing it in a way that other people haven't done a million times. And so some of that's just spending time on it and brainstorming. Hi, just popping in. Really enjoyed the last couple of videos on this channel. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's escaping one concept. See, like a tree, you have roots that are different ways of escaping. Yeah, that's a good analogy. Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is storm clouds in my world. I mean, they are. Well, even in the real world, they're a different kind of cloud in the sense they're the same matter. They're a different shape formed by the environment and a different density and all that. But they're still water and dust. That's what I mean. They're formed that way really from the weather patterns. But with this world, the gravity is different, the weather patterns are different, the wind's a lot slower. So I don't know exactly how that affects it, and like I say, I need to study that more. Yeah, I figured out what's beneath a toxic layer, but I think I want to leave that kind of a mystery. At least if I write a book about that eventually, I would reveal it. But I want to leave some stuff where it's not all designed out. Like I was saying that here earlier. I want to. You kind of lose that. You kind of lose the feeling of awe once you know how something works fully. Somebody's mentioning yesterday they really like flags. I think that'd be fun. Giant flags here. What was the first thing you drew while making this? I started with a render here, just to get the shape of the mountains. I was trying to figure out what angle, so I just did that in 3D, and then I kind of sketched it up from there. You'll be able to watch the whole replay of it though. Are you able to take a piece of cloud out of the cloud? Yeah, definitely. Astronaut suits on your world seem interesting. Yeah, I mean, astronaut suits even to get below the gas layer, or for something up in the clouds? Oh, first thing I drew when making this, the entire world. Well, it would be the first video I have on my YouTube channel with it. It was this thing. I'm just playing around with the ideas. I was just writing, just kind of started writing out ideas and sketching out really roughly, and then the next one was this. This is kind of the next adaptation of that. No, I have not heard of. Is it Skypia? Or is it Skipia? One Piece. I'd never heard of that. There's a little person over here. Scale of people on this drawing is going to be really small. I need to figure that out though. Yeah, that feels about right. So window would be like that. This is just kind of a floating merchant city that's connecting. It's going to come into the city. I think they'd probably want to have one side of it be fairly flat, and it'd almost be able to just kind of hang off the side of the cliff in summer. And so they just kind of dock here. I mean, once summer came around, and they get rid of their cloud and just kind of dock in here. And just kind of connect to the side of the mountain. Cloud snowball fight. Well, yeah, I mean, they probably wouldn't fly that easily. Like, they'd kind of just slow down through the air. If you name the dragon, so I'm not gonna ask, does the green dragon have a specific name? Yeah, it's Alfred. My setting, I'd reveal that what's beneath the toxic layer might be little tiny humans. The twist is that main characters were giants all along. I like that idea. Do waves of clouds exist? If they do, it'd be really slow, because the way they move is really, really slow. But that would make sense for the wind to like affect the shape of the clouds a little bit more. I mean, they already kind of do, so I don't. Wind already affects clouds in a certain way, but it might shape them more than usual. But I do kind of want to just have them look like normal clouds. But over here in this kind of area, there'd be all these planks and these bridges, and they'd just be really lightweight and tied to each other. And they'd tie them up against the clouds. And they'd all kind of be movable a little bit. Just a giant network of scaffolding. And this would be a whole market area. Because these would be the traders that come in. Two questions. First, what is your some other title ideas you had before Cloudrunner, and your favorite thing about Cloudrunner so far? I don't think I've ever had an actual, like I've had all kinds of little ideas, but I've really worked as an illustrator. I've worked on other people's projects all the time, so I've never really designed my own that much. I really haven't spent much time sketching, and I like to do it, but I just haven't done it a whole lot, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this project, is just to have some space to sketch, and I can illustrate things out as much or as little as I want, but it's about the ideas. So I really haven't done a whole lot of world building other than that, but I've always been fascinated by it. I've always wanted to, so that's kind of me venturing into doing this. And what's your favorite thing about Cloudrunner so far? I think it's just the idea of the freedom of the of running on clouds. It just feels like it'd be so much fun, like super adrenaline, crazy, like it's a crazy adrenaline provoking thing to do, but the freedom of it would just be so fun. So I think writing some kind of scenes like that will be fun. I also really like the really steep architecture. Is there a train? Oh, a train. Well, like for the G-forces? I mean, they wouldn't be experiencing G-forces running. Not at that level, at least. Or do you mean something else? Only an hour late this time, and a half. All good. Actually, I think the houses would be smaller than that even. I mean, the higher up ones will be bigger, but there'll be multiple stories on them. I've always just really loved the idea of living up in high places. Like just the kind of feeling in your gut when you look down from a really high height. You're like, I could fall if I just took a step there. It's like, ugh, the shivers you get. I love that feeling. When is the next video of Clan gonna be posted? I don't know. I need to do some more with the Cloud Warfare, and then I'll post something with that. I have like 3 things that I have that haven't been finished yet. But part of doing the streams is just I'm able to get more done. So I can hang out and chat with you guys, and then kind of just not leave at the same time and just get a bunch of it done. If that makes any sense. So hopefully more soon. But I think Cloud Warfare will be the next one on. With the creatures one, I probably want to do it like 3 creatures in the one video. Probably do a jellyfish, and then some kind of big bird in there, and the cloud kitty. If they're above most clouds, won't that mean the sun will be extra hot? Yeah, there'd be a lot of UV issues with UV rays, but the main issue is it's going to be cold because of the elevation, but things would definitely heat up during the day. I mean, if you're at a high altitude city, like I lived in Mexico City for like a year and a half. It's a really high altitude city, but even when it's hot and like it's sunny out, it's not always really hot. If you go down to sea level, it's extremely hot. But then when you're up that high in the mountains, it can get pretty cold in the winters there. Not like Canada cold where I'm from, but it can get pretty cold. Like definitely cold for not having a heating system. Having nets to fall is very peaceful, but yeah, it's the heights that have the good feeling. Living on the limit of joy and death, yeah. Well, that's the idea with this world. You could fall into a net or a cloud, but you might just keep falling. And if you fall for a certain height, if you hit a cloud, you'll still die. Because it's still a semi-solid surface. Just like hitting water. It would be more forgiving than water, because water creates that surface tension kind of really heavy. Maybe not. I don't know. If you fell the wrong way, you'd probably break some bones though. Is there something like a big nation in a mountain range? Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what would happen. But they're split, like not all the cities are connected. But there would be other countries that are connected more. This one I'm drawing would be less connected though. And the nets would be used to fall and not to die. Would they exist a lot? Yeah, I mean, they'd probably have them, like in an area like this with the markets, they'd probably have them all around the bottom here. Even if they don't care about the people, they don't want the cargo to fall. Especially if one of these, I mean, this looks really precarious, so if one of these were to break, it'd fall down. But they'd probably have all kinds of safety nets over here, yeah. And I imagine all this kind of stuff, they just kind of throw ropes everywhere and interconnect this giant kind of movable city of ropes and planks. So the kind of dock workers here would be very nimble, running across all this and connecting the new ones. How did you come up with the ideas, and did you write all of them? No, I haven't written any of it really, other than like everything I've written so far is in the videos. So like this kind of stuff where I write on the sides of these things, that's all that I have written. And most of my thinking is done sort of while I'm drawing. Some of it's just like I'll have an idea during the day or whatever, and then I'll sketch it out later. Like this idea just popped into my mind late at night, like a couple of weeks ago, of the three, it's basically just three spires with cities kind of interconnected at the top, with these giant bridges, and then this pit in the middle. But I just came up with this idea of the lake in the middle of the three of them on the stream. But it just kind of popped into my head, and I didn't write it down. I just kind of remembered it. It's a cool enough idea that I wouldn't forget it. It's weird thinking of how you come up with things though, like that. It just kind of like that's kind of the thing, the whole visual. My mind isn't very visual actually. Like I don't know if you guys have seen that, how people see in their minds. Some people see crystal clear, other people don't see anything. I'm somewhat in the middle, but more towards I don't see very clearly in my mind, but I'll see general shapes and 3D objects and stuff, and I can, but they're kind of fuzzy and black and white in my mind. Other people can see it completely crystal clearly. So I just get a general idea of the shape of things in my mind, and then it just, but sometimes stuff like that just kind of pops in there. When you're thinking about things, just kind of your subconscious will just give you ideas. What kind of transportation is there for normal civilians? I mean, so most normal civilians, they wouldn't leave the city. They'd have no reason to. Travelers, like traders and travelers, so that's the other thing I want to draw here. There's giant ropes that would go from one city, whole city, to another in more populated areas like that, like rope highways. But I drew it yesterday a fair bit on, this is a cloud pirate thing. They would have these little caravans that could go across those ropes. But that would be a fairly kind of expensive thing to do, and also kind of dangerous. They have like a mountain goat on a wheel, on a gondola. That's how the traders would move, and pirates and soldiers. I'd love to see a volcanic city, or city of, on enormous trees at some point. Yeah, I mean, volcanic city would make a whole lot of sense. Oh, sorry about that. Or enormous trees at some point. Yeah, I mean, they would have, actually having trees at the lower reaches would make sense. There probably wouldn't be a ton of them because it's not a lot of soil, but they would definitely grow into the sides and have some pretty decent sized trees. I'm gonna add some color to the clouds just so people can see where they are. Hello, what's happening? I am creating some world building drawing. If you want to see more about the world, I got 3 videos up on my YouTube channel. Basically, people walk on clouds, or can walk on clouds. It's really dangerous to do so. And all the people who are living on these mountaintops. But it's a lot better explained in my videos. They're just like 5-minute videos. My dog wants to come in. 1 second. Hello, Pixie. Come say hi. Oh my goodness. I got her this bed as a puppy, and she has never slept in it once. She thinks it's a toy. So she came in here and wanted to play with it. I don't know if you can see her back there. Come on. She wants to play. Use this bed. She just thinks it's a toy. The How to Train Your Dragon is a good reference for your world. I haven't seen that in so long. What part of it? The dragons themselves, or I don't really remember. I just remember Hiccup. I remember Toothless. It's really cool art for that. Not gonna lie, the concept is such a good one. Thank you very much. It's been a lot of fun to work on. All the world. Yeah, I'll look into that. An abnormal amount of artists have some amount of aphantasia. Really? That's interesting. Yeah, it makes sense though. I have two good friends that are both artists, and one of them has hyperphantasia, and the other one has complete aphantasia. Their processes are quite different, but the one who has hyperphantasia always struggles with not being able to get their images onto the paper the way they imagine them, which does seem frustrating to me. So, and the other one is just like, I don't imagine anything, so I just create whatever, it just kind of comes out. It's like, oh, that looks good. So I think there's a lot less stress involved with creating that way. And I'm kind of just have this initial, like, when I'm working with clients and book covers, I'll kind of show you what I see. Oh, cute puppy. What is her name? She is Pixie. So if I have a cover in my mind and I just like the idea comes to mind, it'll be kind of like. So this is the cover I made. What I would actually see would be more like probably like that, and then some parts of it are even more blurry and darker and less saturated. So what I would actually see in my mind, I'd see like little points that I would want. So I'd see like that, and then kind of like the text there. This is kind of like what I see in my mind when I'm trying to come up with an idea. That's basically what it looks like. Maybe even a little bit less, but about that amount. Would parts of the cliffs collapse from stress of cities and landslides? Absolutely. That would be a huge danger. And that's kind of the issue of living up there. But that would be a fairly common thing. Would dragons be a problem for the cloud pirate? So dragons, I don't imagine them being a huge problem. Kind of like sharks are for people swimming. Like sometimes it's an issue if the shark is really hungry, but for the most part, we're not the shark's prey. Or like orcas maybe. Mostly they hunt below the gas layer. So it'd be something that you'd see in the distance, but there'd be maybe an occasional attack, but it's very rare. More, they're like almost a mystical kind of creature that you see in the distance. They would kind of keep to their own spires. The humans wouldn't touch the ones that the dragons have claimed, and vice versa. If you're imagining, you will have less what to draw because images in your mind. Yeah, I think it's an interesting thing. I think the desire to create will be there either way, but I do think it's more frustrating if you can see it really clearly in your mind, because it's always going to be better in your mind than it is on the paper. There's just going to be constant sorts of frustration. I would imagine. I think what I have is fairly nice because it's just kind of relaxing. Whatever I create on paper is usually, ever since I've been like maybe 18 years old, it's usually been better than what I see in my mind. It still took a lot of practice to get to that point, but at a certain point it just kind of, what's in my mind isn't as cool as what I can draw, because I don't see very clearly in my mind. Could you plan on drawing more types of dragons? If you couldn't tell, I love dragons. I love dragons too. That's my favorite thing. Yeah, I want to do some white dragons. That would be more like they would attack people, but they'd be smaller, or they'd attack other creatures maybe. There could be some kind of mythical dragon that, like, the thing is, this world is gonna be so mysterious because traveling is so difficult. So there's gonna be myths of dragons. But I love dragons. It's my favorite thing. I'll show you a dragon that I painted. The biggest dragon ever. Up on my website here. This guy. He's the big dragon. Is that a perspective grid in the background? Sorry, I'm going through these all kind of backwards. I'll just see whatever I see. Yeah, I have a perspective grid. Would siege tactic be melting clouds around a city? Yeah, it'd be hard to do that much melting clouds, and it wouldn't be a terrible deal for them. They'd have plenty of water probably in reserve, but it could be. It'd be so much work to deal with getting all the clouds out of the way, because they're constantly moving. I think there'd be giant birds that would hunt people, definitely. They would hunt people and mountain goats. All the like kind of mountain lions, they would, or mountain leopards, what do they have? Snow leopards, that's the word. Kind of creatures, they would definitely hunt people. What if there were dragons that would dwell in caves and or clouds? Yeah, so I think they would be in, they would just take kind of certain spires from themselves, like mountains, and sleep in the caves or on the peaks. On the they'd make nests maybe, and they would just kind of keep those mountains for themselves, and the humans wouldn't go anywhere near them. Should put that on another layer. Ah, that's not another layer. My perspective grid is here. I want to show some Cloudrunners in the foreground here. Will you do a whale dragon or orca dragon? I've thought of something like something that would be a lot bigger and be able to float with having like clouds inside it. And they'd move really slowly though. I don't know if it would be giant bats. Giant bats would be cool, yeah. Would they make a suit that would withstand the gas in the valleys? I've gone through this a little bit. I think they might. That'd be an interesting idea for a story. They could also carve through the mountains maybe. Dragons have some internal toxic bladder. Yeah, exactly. Goat unicorns. Yeah, that's in my. Did you guys see that? I literally have that in my my animal board here. This is the thing apparently. Prehistoric goat unicorn. I definitely want to have that. I'll have that in my son absolutely loves unicorns. So I'll have to have a unicorn in this world of some kind. This is Photoshop that I'm using. Any tips you have for when you start drawing? What do you mean? For you to start drawing as when I start drawing a specific piece, do you mean? Or do you mean to how to learn to draw? How intelligent are the dragons? I don't think they're human level intelligence. They'd be like a very smart lizard. Maybe dolphin level. I mean, we don't really know how intelligent dolphins are, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. Flying fish at some point. Yeah. The idea of flying fish, sitting in the clouds with a fishing pole sounds so relaxing. That does. Mantle-like creatures, yes. That's on my board here too. Manta rays. Is that what you mean? crab-like creatures that blended in with the side of the mountain peaks that live on either side of the mountains and would ambush prey. Yeah, that would make sense. I got like this kind of stuff over here. I have one over here. This is just kind of creatures that I feel like might fit in the world, or some element of them might fit in the world. But probably on another stream we'll design out a few of those. How big do the dragons get? Let's see if I can bring up the one I did. I have a human scale for it, and here, about that size, is the dude here. They might get bigger than that though. People don't like actually see them in person that close that often, so they could get a lot bigger than that. I'm gonna actually draw another mountain over here with some dragons flying around. Need to make them a lot smaller than that, but I'll draw them bigger and then make them smaller. Really love this whole idea, and I'm really super inspired by your journey of bringing it to life. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. What pencil display do you use, and how much does it cost? It is a Huron canvas with an M, for some reason. 4K 24-inch. Let's see. It's Canvas Pro. 24. I don't know how much they cost in dollars. I think it's like 11, $1,200. 24. Where's the pro shop? There we go. This one. Yeah, just about 1,200. It's really nice. It's a lot cheaper than the Wacom or Wacom or however you say it ones. And it feels. I've always used Wacom Intuos, and this feels way better. It might not be as good as the other ones, but it feels really, really good. The screen is amazing too, like the colors. I had an old Hue canvas that was not pro, and it was from a bunch of years ago, and the screen quality was really not very good. But this one, the colors are amazing, and it's 4K, so it's really nice to draw on. It's a comfortable size too. I kind of wanted one that was bigger, but I really like this one. Kind of fits right in this perfect spot here. If it was any bigger, I wouldn't be able to reach my keyboard and mouse on the sides. Is there Mount Everest equivalent in your world? I'm sure there is. I haven't maybe they haven't discovered it yet, or I mean, there's probably much higher mountains in some parts, but I haven't made a map yet, so I don't quite know. I'll have to design it. I'll do a map on here someday. Oh, it's steeper than this. Quite a bit steeper. What would the populations of each city be? They don't seem that large by modern standards. They wouldn't be as large as modern standards, but some of them would get quite big. I would say medieval standards, definitely. They'd have lots of farming, because even down below here, like this mountain continues quite a ways down, and you wouldn't be able to see the bottom. There's all kinds of farms and stuff down there. I would say probably a city like this, with all going down there and the people living in the middle, probably like 100,000 people. How many moons are there in the world, in your world? 4,826. No, I have no idea. I haven't thought of that yet. A Yeti crab size in the clouds. Snakes? Yeah, there's snakes. That was on my board too. Did you know that there's just snakes? I read this. Flying snakes are real. It's so crazy. And they don't fly exactly, but they fall really far. Just kind of wiggle through the air. So in lower gravity, they would definitely be able to do that longer, and then land on clouds and go to the next one, slither across it. Yeah, snakes would be a pretty big danger here. There's a lot of in like these flying squid. They basically like suck in water and then shoot it out really quickly and make this jet of water, and they can fly or shoot up to 30 meters, which is crazy. So I would imagine they'd be able to do that. They'd melt some cloud and then shoot themselves to the next one. Will humans be able to domesticate some of the dragons? Like, could you have some tribe of dragon riders? There might be. I've thought of that. I love the idea of dragon riders, but I don't know how well that would fit in to the world, just the feeling of the world, because it kind of Maybe some tribe would be able to do that. Some really crazy daredevil tribe that lives up in with the dragons. But I don't think that would be any major point of the world overall. This is not kind of the... I really want to sell the idea of the Cloudrunners. But maybe in some long, distant place. If we had a book, the main character could travel there eventually. Learn how to do that. Be cool. But I don't think it'd be common. I think they're quite violent and wild and would not like people intruding on their territory. Especially because their nests and their young would all be on the mountain peaks. It's like, how many people can befriend a tiger in the real world? It's not very common. If they're in a cage, maybe. But even still, people get surprises. When did you start this project? The initial idea for it was about 5 years ago, but I didn't ever make anything with it until about 2 months ago. These clouds are getting too high. How would they supply food for the population? So I discussed it a little bit yesterday. I'm getting too many images up here. Just make sure I save this one though. It's Brainstorm 8, I think. I drew a really rough version of that. Basically, at the lower levels, they have these terraced gardens, and they use basically kind of this mix of aeroponics and hydroponics, where they pull clouds. Well, I mean, actually, they don't pull clouds at this level. That's the higher up levels, but there's so much really, really densely thick clouds at the lower levels that just kind of are mist around here, and so things at the lower levels just grow insanely fast with all the moisture. So they can just kind of it's like the idea of the chinampas, I think they're called, in Tenochtitlan, which is formerly Mexico City. They had these sort of floating water gardens. That's kind of the idea there. Was they're actually the most efficient gardens, or most efficient farms that people have ever had historically. So it's that kind of idea. So you can have a really big population with that. Need a bird. Posted a concept in the ArcGen. I will check that out. Thank you very much. This idea you come up with this world, unbelievably sick. Can't believe no one else has made something like this. I'd love to see this world explained in books, movies, or games. Me too. I mean, I might end up writing a book. I don't know if I'm any good at it. But I'll have to learn how to write well if I do that. But I'll definitely keep creating this and see where it goes. Tristan, hello. Yes, I can see the chat. It's not super delayed because I'm in Mexico. It's YouTube is a few seconds delayed, but I'm reading because there's so many comments coming through, and I'm also trying to draw. So I'm a bit delayed because of that more than anything. So I want to see what the delay is. When you guys hear me say now, in a few seconds, I will write the letter for the number 8. 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, that was like 15 seconds delayed. I have a Discord. Yeah, it should be linked in the description here. If not, it's on my YouTube profile. I just made it yesterday though, so there's not much in there yet. I don't have a conlang yet. I don't know if I plan on making one, but I might. I don't like for me. I don't find that as interesting. Like it's not as much fun to me. It's really cool to have it, but the actual idea of making it seems like so much work linguistically, and I haven't studied linguistics that much. Let's go. Someone who's live at a normal time. Where are you guys all from? I'm from Canada, and I live in Mexico. Denmark, and I live in Denmark. Alaska, Florida, Czech Republic, Mexico. Sweden, Europe, Brazil, New Zealand, Norway. You guys from all over. That's crazy. Dad jokes. A YouTuber named Greg McJohan that I think you might find interesting. He's in Mexico, biked all the way from Alaska. That seems like quite the adventure. I know a guy who's done a motorcycle trip from Canada to Mexico, to Guatemala actually. A bicycle trip seems crazy. That'd be real adventure. I'll have to look that up. Did the world always have a smoke layer and unwalkable clouds, or was that a result of something? I don't think, I don't know if I would say what it's from necessarily in the world building, because that wouldn't, it's been before they can remember, but I would imagine either they collide, like the planet could have collided with some kind of gas giant, or I think the clouds would always have been a thing. The gas layer might have been that, or it could be something that erupted from inside the planet. Or it's always been there. Who knows? How far down is the acid gas? I drew it out at some point here. Which one is it on? But I haven't, I don't like the heights I have here. Like, it's too short, that space. But it's kind of like this. I had this at 1,000 meters above sea level. They wouldn't know what sea level is though, and so this, just a kilometer, which doesn't seem like quite enough. Although it's a lot when you feel, like when you actually go that far, it feels pretty substantial, but it might be bigger than that. I think that's all open to change. Your channel has inspired, along with Monster Garden, has inspired me to outline my a sci-fi world building thing. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it's just, it's so inspiring. Like that Monster Garden was super inspiring for me, and I hope that this is inspiring for other people. It's just, I think that's kind of the creating, it's just kind of the best part. One of the best parts of us as humans. It's just such a cool thing to do and to be a part of and inspire others. It's just so much fun. I hope there's lots of more channels like this. I would love to see, like, just for me to watch, I want to see it myself. be right back. I'm just gonna. Be right back, guys. Give me a second. All right. I think it might be nice to build world build with your community instead of having to present a flawless, complete world. Yeah, I mean, even the YouTube videos, I think it's all a work in progress. I don't want to pressure myself into having to have anything finished yet. At some point, I'll probably do like a big hour-long video explaining every little bit of the world. But that's once everything's defined more. Right now, I'm just exploring and trying things out, having fun. Will your world have spiders? Oh, only if you're not arachnophobic. If you are arachnophobic, it doesn't have spiders, don't worry. I'm not sure, I haven't designed spiders yet, but probably would. Don't see why not. They'd probably love this world. And they'd probably be able to walk on the clouds. Thanks for joining. Good night. I'm not heading. I'm just saying goodbye to somebody in the chat there. What trees does this world have? I don't know yet. I need to do some thinking on that. So I just kind of thought about this right now as where's my no 4 no 2. I need to label these. That would be way easier. So this guy, how they would travel, I mean, I'd imagine he would get his grappling hook like this, tie it to this end, throw it over the cloud, and plant this end into the bottom of the cloud, so he wouldn't fall onto it as well, like the spiky part. And this would kind of rest into the cloud a little bit more, but you'd still have to run up it pretty quickly, otherwise it'd start to kind of fall in a little bit. But that's kind of what he's doing here. Hello. You're late. A wizard is never late. And then, oh yeah, what else? They throw the grapple hook into the cloud to catch the latch onto that, and then they'd climb up that. And then they'd just pull it back, the whole spear, after them. Climbing with the shoes would probably be really annoying. Well, maybe not, because they could just latch onto the sides. Giant tree is interesting. I think that would work at lower levels. Probably not up at the high levels. I don't think trees would even grow. I imagine there'd be a lot more kind of, more than trees. I think it'd probably be more like vines and like things that grow off of the side of the mountains. Abandoned or destroyed cities if spiders exist. Yeah, I mean, I don't like the idea of spiders being the kind of the main villain, or not villain, but creature that kind of like in our world, they're there, but they don't play a role to our everyday lives. That's too terrifying. Are there any fantasy races or just humans? I think just humans. I don't. I mean, there's. I could make a whole new race. I definitely don't want to do just the typical fantasy races, but I think just humans kind of fits the feel of this better. creatures, of course, but Mortal Engines with Clouds. I haven't read or seen. I don't even know what that's about. But that's cool. That's actually kind of similar, yeah. Like it's like these cities built on these ramshackle cities on that kind of. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some similarities there. Would humans have adapted for large feet and light bodies? Maybe. I don't. I mean, I always thought that like their cloud shoes, which is like snowshoes, they'd wear, but they might have bigger feet. That would make sense. They would be taller and probably have bigger quad muscles, especially the Cloudrunners. But most of the population is, I mean, even you have to have bigger quads than normal just to live and stuff. It's such a steep environment because walking up and down everywhere instead of horizontally. Okay, so I wanted to draw this idea for a while. If we have a guy with his cloud shoes on either side, like this, he puts his spear across there, and maybe even like nets, and then he hangs his hangs a hammock in between there. That seems supremely relaxing. It'd be a good nap, but if you fell off, that'd be kind of quite a way to wake up. They use gas to have cities higher than the clouds. How would that work? Oh, like like taking other kinds of gases and putting it in like balloons or something like that, do you mean? Tyler says, I gotta go, but I love your work. Very original and art has a unique style that I think you do very well. Thank you very much. If you had made one, what is the history of this world? Like why cities in the clouds? So they have this toxic gas layer. I have a few videos on YouTube showing that. But basically they have to be above a certain height. But the cultures would be a lot about the higher up you are. It's safer, of course. You can't get attacked from above. If people running across the clouds, it'd just be kind of this. The richer people would want to be up higher, be more prestigious. I don't know what this trapdoor spider is. Oh, what? That is cool. I've never heard of these. That's really cool. I like that. I'm gonna close that for. Sorry if any arachnophobes there. Because that don't want to leave that on the screen too long, but it was very cool. Yeah, there'd be insects. Don't see why not. It's hard to have a food chain without them. Yeah, the froggos have to eat. You can't have hungry froggos. It's not acceptable. Hashtag feed the froggos. Yeah, I mean it's high altitude, but it's not. It's like you might be surprised how high altitude stuff can still live, especially in a warmer climate at high altitudes. Like I say, in Mexico City, it's something really high up. It's 2,240 meters altitude, 7,350 feet. And there's like, I mean, there's tons of, it's not like anything has trouble growing there, or insects or anything like that. How do you world build these environments? I mean, technically in terms of how to draw it, or just, I guess, designing it is just slowly coming up with the base idea of it. We're walking on clouds, and then how does the world look? The spires, and then this idea with the three mountain peaks coming together. That just kind of popped into my head one day, so I don't know how to explain that. And the rest of it's just been kind of thinking through what they have, how would it work. But it hasn't been a lot of time. Like, I haven't put a ton of time into this project yet. Even the YouTube videos, all of that drawing. Probably not more than 15 hours total. I really want to do more of this. It's just I have full-time, more than a full-time of working as an illustrator. So I overbooked this past couple of months. I've really overbooked, and it's hard to take time away from it. But it's a lot of fun, and I hope to be able to do more and more of it. Is that a dragon or a bird? It's a dragon. Over here, that's a dragon. I think they would leave the dragons alone for the most part. There's giant, enormous predators. It's like humans trying to tame a tiger. This doesn't work so well. But a tiger, but that's like 100 times bigger. The idea of riding dragons is really cool, but it seems very impractical to me. I mean, I'm not against it, but I'm not against having that in some part of my world, but it's they're giant carnivorous predators. Where does the dirt come from? I mean, that's a good question. That is a good question. I mean, there'd have to be some dirt inside the mountains. Did people of this planet have pets? Yeah, they got to. Mountain goats. You know, probably like monkeys. Monkeys would like it here. This would not be a fun staircase to climb. I'm wondering if the scale of this feels right. I think these houses are too big still. I'm gonna make these smaller. That's kind of the issue with the scale there. That's better. I kind of want to just like fill this whole thing up with houses, but that's going to take forever to draw them one by one. I might just do some copying and pasting. Don't tell anybody. Yeah, but some people do have tigers as pets. Most end up eaten by the tigers when they turn into adults, so not a good idea. Yeah, that's the issue with it. They're your pet until they decide they're hungry. Do you plan on creating fictional animals? Yeah, definitely. Got one already. Is it? No. Here it is. I mean, that's my kind of feline design, mixed with like a sugar glider and a lynx snow leopard. Is there a larger region of high altitude land like a plateau? Yeah, there would definitely be plateaus and more high altitude kind of like flatter areas as well. Probably in this country there wouldn't be. This is kind of the probably the sort of the epicenter of this country. The tallest mountain needs to have a staircase from the bottom to the top for no reason. Yes. The reason is because it's cool. And it's terrifying imagining having to walk the whole thing up. Would it be our world with the clouds or another? It's another world. There are mountain goats. There are eagles. Yeah, there's definitely lots of birds of prey. How do they get clay for their roof tiles? I mean, I don't know if it is clay, to be honest. I think most of it's built out of stone or wood, like cedar shakes, how they have like those wooden tiles, but it would be like mushroom-based wood for the most part that they use. They could have clay tiles at the top in the sort of the upper levels where it's more expensive. It's like they'd have all these kind of things, but not much of those kind of resources. Smaller dragons, size of fruit bats. See, I actually like that idea of having, instead of like having bats, it'd just be like lots of different sizes of dragons. That makes a lot more sense. Would there be vultures? Yes, there would definitely be vultures. I might change them, but yeah. I'll probably do videos and streams where I just design creatures the whole time. Some of them are just like things that I think would just need a slight tweak. Definitely want to design whole new creatures, but there's so many things that are cool as is and might just need a slight change to work here. Animals that work perfectly in our world, but not as pets. In the fantasy world, they could weirdly work as pets. Like what? You have any ideas? Sugar glider pets would be cool. There were dwarf dragons that were tameable. Yeah, I mean maybe like bat-sized dragons. Hunting different birds or other things among the clouds. And the vultures swooping. Yeah. I think they would, like, falconry would be a big thing. They have birds that do their own hunting for it. Like, people do have the birds going out from their towers, the castle towers, and going out hunting for them and bringing stuff back. Or not bringing it back and they have to have people go get it for them. Like, that would be a whole thing. A fluffy snake that can glide across the air and act like dogs. Who's a good fluffy snake? I mean, I would like one of those. I'm a big fan of reptiles. I had a for a couple of years. He just died about 8 months ago, I think. I had a bearded dragon here. He got sick though. He's a good little guy. His name is Smaug. And I have 4 turtles. I have 2 rescue turtles in my yard. In Mexico here, you can just have them in the yard. And then I got 2 back here in the tank. Are you gonna make behemoths? I would like to, yeah. I think some kind of creature. I mean, they'd be it'd be interesting because so few people travel that there'd be a lot of myths of other countries, I think, and far away, like somebody has seen this giant creature in another mountain peak or mountain range or something, and there'd be like little drawings of it that people would make, but most people wouldn't believe it. Maybe it'd become like, even it'd be way easier than it is nowadays, or even in our like our medieval world, to have fictional creatures because of that kind of separation. But then some of them could just be made up, and some of them could be real. It'd be hard to verify. Somebody else would have to travel there, but then can you believe that person? What about trees? Is there a biome with tall trees that go above the toxic clouds? I don't think anything living can really touch it. It's like it would just give you like chemical burns and disintegrate things. The toxic layers. I don't think there's things that would grow through it. A pet bearded dragon named Venom. Have a pet bearded dragon named Venom because they can turn black. Yeah, they don't. They only do that when they're scared. You don't want to make them scared. Poor little guys. When their beard goes all black. So they're trying to look threatening. A place for biodiversity that doesn't need to fly. Oh yeah, I mean there's be tons and tons of biodiversity on the clouds. Like just even if you look at mountains, how much life always finds a way, and there's still gonna be tons and tons of life. And the thing is, down at that lower levels, it's like, I mean when I start drawing the lower levels, you'll see what it kind of feels like. But it feels like a rainforest almost, and we've got vines and small trees climbing like everywhere, and caves, so it's kind of all over the place. There's lots of life and lots of small animals that can live in there, and even big animals that don't fly, and they just live on the mountainsides. There'd be a moose or a hybrid of them that live in the mountains. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of kind of goat-like creatures. Because I don't know how much the moose can climb a steep edge, but something like that would be really cool. Moose are really cool creatures. Let's see, would there be plateaus? Yes, there'd be plateaus. Not in this kind of area of the world, but yes, there would be. The dragons can fly through because they fly quickly, and their scales are more resistant to it than other things. But most organic material can't get through. I'm sure there's a few exceptions to that. And I have, like I said, none of this is like I've decided on it fully. It's just I'm working through it. So I'm more than willing to change my mind on anything in this world right now, as long as it kind of fits the feel I'm going for. what's the thing in the middle? This thing here? This is an arena. And they fill it with a cloud, and then they have like gladiator fights in here. And then the water comes down, like that falls down here, goes into this lake. Will there be an animal that looks like a silly little guy, a little goobster? Very funky looking fellow. Okay, you wrote that all those different ways. I'm sure there will be. We'll have to design one. That'll be a fun thing to design. A funky little fellow. This whole thing would be in shadow. Can't have it look that bright. Here we get a little bit of light peeking through. Would there be areas without gas? No, that would go through the whole planet. It's just kind of a steady, like the weight of the gas goes, so it evens out at that level. You've thought much of other cultures and civilizations? I haven't thought of any civilizations yet, to be honest. I mean, this was kind of just the first one I wanted to draw, was more of this kind of medieval European fantasy with the castle spires and that, like, but I haven't designed anything else. And this one isn't all that original, to be honest. But I definitely do. There'd be nomadic ones as well. So yeah, I'll definitely get into that. I've kind of just started with the process. It's been building up from a really simple foundation of how do the clouds work and how would a city work. And then it'll get more and more into the detail of what is culture like and all that. But I didn't want to get too far ahead of myself with that until I've got sort of the building blocks of the world in place. Because everything kind of comes out of that. Like, everything is defined in this world is defined by the clouds and the topography of the world. So everything kind of has to like I have to understand that before I can move forward, but then it'll just kind of get more and more detailed. Do tornadoes exist? No, I don't think exactly that would. It might. They'd be really slow if they did. But I don't think that the way I've thought of the world so far, how the clouds work, I don't think that it would work like that. It could be more like a slow hurricane, but where all the clouds would kind of merge into this thing, but the wind speeds are really low. I think there's already plenty of danger in this world without getting into, like, it doesn't quite fit with how I've thought of the clouds working, so it feels plenty dangerous without it. Do people kill dragons use their bodies to make stuff like weapons? I don't think it'd be that easy to kill a dragon. Like, imagine trying to kill, like I say, like, what's the biggest predator we can imagine? Like a tiger or something like that. Something that moves fast. Like, imagine trying to kill a tiger with, like, a crossbow. Like, you hit it, it is still gonna keep going. Now imagine something that's scaled and is 100 times bigger. You're not gonna kill it. It won't care about the arrows. I think they would kind of just keep their distance. They would probably have, I would imagine, like, some of the royalty or the really rich people would have like a dragon skull or something like that. That would be a definite thing that they might have found. But I think dragon hunting is just kind of, it feels like an insane proposition. Like, it's really cool, but I don't think, if they were to do that, they wouldn't survive. Like, that'd be a terrifying thing to do. Because they're not the biggest dragons ever, but they are pretty big. Here's my dragon. I don't think I opened them today. Maybe I did. Like, that's pretty big compared to a person. I don't know. They might, but no, it's not magic. The magic is the friends we made along the way. Do the clouds rain in thunder? I don't think so. Maybe thunder, which would be a very rare thing and very dangerous, but they don't rain exactly. They would start to, like, if they come, like, so if a cloud comes up against a hot surface, let's say the sun's been heating this side of the mountain all day, and the cloud runs up, against it, it's gonna slowly melt and just turn into water, and the water will just come down, and that's why these cliffs are so steep, because it's been eroded like that. It's not as big as smog, but it's bigger than How to Train Your Dragon. Well, I do. So for the gas, I imagine that it stays at a fairly constant level just because of the weight. Like, I don't know if you've seen how, with some experiments of how certain gases will just kind of stay above others. Or how, like, the same way oil and water separate and stuff like that. That's kind of how I imagine this gas layer. It would just stay at that level. A gust of wind might, like I said, the wind is slower, but a gust of wind might move it up 40-50 meters at most, and then it settled back down. Alright guys, well I'm gonna have to call it today. My kid is gonna need me to head to bed soon. It's been great hanging out and drawing this. I'm really happy with how far I got on this today though. I'll probably do another session on this one. Get some more details out, but I wanted a big illustration to just give more of a sense of the scale of a city and the clouds and all that. And yeah, I'm really happy with how far this has gone so far. Thank you guys so much for joining. If you're not yet and would like to, please join the Discord. It's in the description of this video and it's also in the links on my YouTube profile. Let's see, I think prehistoric animals. Wait, what are you answering again? Or what are you asking? I think I missed it. Yeah, thank you guys so much. It's been a lot of fun hanging out. But yeah, if you guys have any more questions or thoughts or anything, just you can ask in the Discord, hang out there, share some links. Feel free to just hang out in the call if you want as well. Oh, if prehistoric animals exist, yeah. I mean, they'd be different, but there would definitely be a lot that are. I mean, I like I say, I haven't designed any of them really yet, but they're definitely on the board here. Like, especially the flying ones, but I also think there'd be other kinds. But yeah, we'll design some soon, and I'll add more to the board. This is just kind of my initial. I got all this in like 2 hours. Cool. All right, thank you guys. We'll see you in the next one hopefully.